open a gap now in the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick.
Just unbelievable cruise control on that 27 car. He's now stretching it out. Unbelievable.
You see the 55 of Dexter Stacey going down a lap. You know what? The kid's doing all right. He came out west. He had problems in Vernon. They had to put a rear clip on that car. They got it fixed. Just 16 years old. And he's still in a pretty close battle with Joey Hansen for the Rookie of the Year. And in this race, Joey's sitting in 12th. Just 90 points separate the two, so anything can happen.
He's real good there. He's keeping an eye. He let the fast guys get through there without holding him up. Just doing a, whoa, as I say that, he goes across the nose of Don Thompson Jr.
Earlier this season, actually, at the Mosport Road Course, I saw Series Director Brad Moran talk to Dexter Stacey. Just give him a little points, a little heads up, and point him in the right direction. So definitely looking for Stacey to hang around this series for a long time.
Absolutely. Dave, while you're saying that, I was watching the 95 car. The right-hand sway bar link is awful close to the ground. As long as it stays hooked up, it won't be a problem. But it's awful close to the ground when he's diving into the corner.
Could that be a product of banging off these curbs?
Well, very much so. You can bend the sway bar link pretty easy jumping across the curbs. But right now, it looks like it's having no effect on that race car.
So no doubt the crew mentioning to maybe ease off those curbs just a little bit. It's another good look at Dexter Stacey, the only Pontiac Grand Prix in the race here today as he faces the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. But here's the best battle on the track right now. Kerry Miggs in the 02 BDI Ford Fusion, and somebody DJ Kennington picking up 7th position, and he's going to drag along Jason Hathaway with him.
DJ Kennington losing spots. Oh, he's seriously off the power there. Something's wrong with the power plant in that 17 Dodge.
And how about Trevor Siebert in the 69 inside the top 10 after starting near the back of the pack. 9th place for the driver of the 69.
So 12 spots so far by Trevor Siebert. What a great job by the Williams Lake driver.
And Billy, just getting some reports, DJ Kennington may have a fuel pickup problem, so that's the reason he's headed to the back.
P9, Trevor. P9.
Trevor, it's Kev here. You notice that the guys that are in your group are all loose off. Just squeeze that gas. Stick that egg back in there.
Okay.
Wow, what great advice. Kevin Dowler on the radio to his driver telling him what's going on in front of him. And Trevor Siebert, a real good road racer, will obey that. And road racing is like that. Easy in, hard off. Feather the throttle, get it off the corner. Don't spin the tires. Great advice from Kevin Dowler.
Is that what he means by get that egg back in there? Put that egg quite figuratively underneath the gas pedal.
Absolutely. As soft as you can squeeze it without breaking it, and you will not spin the tires.
And save those tires for the long run as we've been having here in Edmonton at the Rexall Speedway, the Canadian Tire 100, as we ride along board with Trevor Siebert. Whoa, Hathaway goes way wide.
Gets Hathaway in way over his head and takes the spot.
And James Van Domselaar with problems on the 14 as the caution flag will fly for the first time. And Domselaar hard into the tire wall. You can see nearly the entire back end of that Impala SS has been torn off.
Oh, he's been into something real hard. It had to be a tire wall or concrete. There's not a lot of protection around here, but he's certainly got into something. Let's have a look at the replay. We're on board with Todd Nickel here.
There you can see Van Domselaar just ahead.
Wow, just on the power too early and kicked out around and into the tire bearing and just ate that car up.
Yeah, while there are no real hard walls here, those tire walls will swallow you up pretty quickly.
Well, what happens is they suck in, they grab the car and spin it the other way and does all kinds of damage.
And there's evidence of that. Some debris down in turn number 5 as James Van Domselaar awaits the Wheel and Engineering safety crew. The window net day is down, so he is okay, but Van Domselaar's day ends here in the Canadian Tire 100.
Well, Dave, the 95 is on pit road with jack stands underneath it, with a crew member going underneath. The shifter linkage is probably caught between gears or maybe grabbing one that he doesn't want to grab when he's going through the race course.
Also on pit road is DJ Kennington, Tots in the Castrol pit.
Fellas, it's the 17 Castrol Mahindra team working on the fuel pickup problem for DJ Kennington. They believe it's in the back of the car. They already put fuel in it, trying to get it as full as possible. It seemed to work a little better at the start of the race, but struggles as the tank empties.
And DJ Kennington had gone from 5th at the beginning of the race down to 11th just before that pit stop. And Todd Nichols also in. Looks like some motor troubles as the hood goes up.
Well, the technician's working frantically underneath the hood. The engine is off, so maybe a spark plug wire or a broken plug.
So some early wear and tear here in the Canadian Tire 100. Some seeing more tear than wear as Andrew Ranger continues to lead. Welcome back to the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Still under caution here at the Canadian Tire 100 on TSN. On board with Ottawa native Pierre Bourque as he pilots his Aaron's Dream Machine. Pierre also supports the Canadian military with his racing efforts.
Well, Dave, there was lots of military personnel around the 29 paddock this weekend. One of those was a bona fide war hero, David Schultz, with 6 tours of duty.
An interesting story, too. Pierre actually drives today with a Canadian flag that was part of a Schultz uniform that had been torn up when he was in a lab that blew up in Afghanistan.
Wow.
I know, superheroes and all watching the race here at the Rexall Speedway, the Canadian Tire 100, as we take a good look at Joey Hansen in the 40. He's in 10th spot.
Well, even though he hasn't raced stock cars before, he's got lots of road course experience over in Europe.
He struggled a little bit on the ovals, and of course he had that pretty hard hit in Mosport, but it is good to see him back in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series and inside the top 10 in the early going here. The Canadian Tire 100 looking to improve his position in the Prime Champ Dodge Avenger. So Andrew Ranger, who's been dominant for the early part of this race with J.R. Fitzpatrick right behind him. We'll see if J.R. Fitzpatrick can do anything on this restart. Coming into the final corner, the green flag waves, so we're back underway.
Back up through the gearbox, heading for turn 1. Can anybody step on Superman's cape? Not this time. Ranger beats them all to turn 1. It is 3 wide again.
And did you see how far Trevor Siebert went way down to pick up positions? And now he tucks in behind the Snap-on Dodge of Jason Hathaway, but Siebert making a Hail Mary move down into corner number 1.
Well, what that's all about is when you're at slow speeds like that, he can get up through the gearbox, get out of traffic, and carry momentum down into turn 1 and beat him to the braking zone. He did a great job.
Short race. We've already hit the home hardware halfway update. We've had just 1 leader and 0 lead changes. It's been all Andrew Ranger in that Walmart tied Charmin Ford Fusion.
Wow, take that. He's so relaxed in there. Here we grab a gear, we look around, and we pull 5 or 6 car lengths on J.R. Fitzpatrick.
He was getting a little bit loose, working the steering wheel just a little bit more than he was early in the race. Jason Hathaway dives underneath the BDI Ford Fusion of Kerry Mix to get the Snap-on Dodge number 3 6th spot.
Nixie crosses over, goes to the outside. Trevor Siebert goes down the inside under braking.
Siebert saw that happen, and Siebert will move to 7th position in the Lake Excavating number 69. That's got to be a veteran road race move. You can see what happens well ahead of you and start planning your movement 3 quarters ahead.
Oh, that having Kevin Dowler on the radio. Kevin, a real good road racer, a good guy, knows what's going on, calling the shots, probably telling him, have a look inside, have a look outside. And look at this, he's going to go to the big side on the 3. Watch him cross over. Watch this, down to the inside. What a job. This guy knows his way around.
Yeah, just 15 laps to go. Trevor Siebert knows it's time to go. Remember, he started way at the back of the field, so you got to think that his equipment might be used up a little bit more than these guys out front who have been pacing themselves a little bit more.
Well, that's right, Dave. He will put a little more wear and tear on the brakes and tires, but he had that caution to get caught up, cool everything down, and go right back at it.
From 21st spot, starting dead last in the field, now running in 7th and working the back bumper on that Snap-on Tools number 3 of Jason Hathaway. But here's a look at the front pack. Andrew Ranger has opened up a gap on the 84 Chic Impala SS of J.R. Fitzpatrick, who has some company now. It's Scott Steckley in the 22.
That Canadian Tire driver, he's in the hunt too. You know what? Every race we seem to have the same customers up front.
And interesting to note, too, in that 22, Scott Steckley, a spec motor under the hood of that Dodge Avenger for the first time this season. You remember he had motor troubles at Mosport.
Well, I see the old monkey see, monkey do. Andrew Ranger put that spec motor in right from the get-go and was running really well with it. So the 22 team put their built motors on the shelf and went racing on the road courses, at least, with the spec motor.
Yeah, it's easy to put them on the shelf when they have a big hole in the side of them.
That does happen in this sport. Look at this, under braking. The 3 is going to lose a spot to the 69 of Trevor Siebert.
Trevor Siebert finally gets around the 3 of Jason Hathaway, picking up 6th position. So Siebert disposes of Hathaway and takes a look at the back bumper. The 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr., but he's got a lot of ground to make up to catch the leaders as Todd Nickel down and away from the pit stall. Those motor troubles possibly cured in the Bayer Crop Science Impala SS.
Well, the in-car camera, it doesn't sound like it's on all 8 cylinders, Dave.
And not out for points, so Todd Nickel will park it if that car not absolutely right. He doesn't want to get in the way of this race for the lead. Anthony Simoni now in a battle with the 0-2 of Kerry Mix. You remember, Simoni had to make that pit stop after possible transmission troubles on the Crown Modular 90.